Hello, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the webinar about the CUE recent news this spring 2020. First of all, I strongly recommend that you will turn off your cameras and you will save a bandwidth for better connection. So it's not necessary to send me the picture of you today. I think it's more than enough if you will see my face. And the second, please mute your microphones so you are not contributing with the sound to the meeting today. Let's start with my introduction. My name is Ondrej Sedlacek, and I work at the CUE as a person responsible to drive sales. And I'm going to be your guide for today's webinar. Hopefully you all can hear me clearly and there is no technical issue. So we will go smoothly through the webinar today. Also, for your information, there is a recording on at the moment, so I'm going to record entire webinar today, and after the webinar, I plan to send out to all of you some follow-up email where you will receive a link for the cloud-based storage where I will place a recording of today's webinar as well. There will be presentation you are going to see in the next minutes and some other materials. So I believe that's all for the beginning. And let's go to see what news we are having at CUE. First, I have a split of today's webinar into three major parts. First part is about the touchONE product family. Second part is about a control system, and then the last one, last but not least, is about some common stuff. So let's start with the touchONE. touchONE, I'm going to tell you about new software we are having in development. I'm going to tell you about some new hardware addition into the touchONE family, and some other technical details regarding the software, firmware, support of some new features, and so on. First of all, in touchONE, for some of you, just a reminder, for some of you, probably this is a new information. This slide is describing complete touchONE ecosystem, which is giving us overview of touchONE solution. So on the top line, you see typically some hardware components like touch panels for meeting rooms or workplace interfaces or other units. In the middle is infrastructure. So typically for now or so far, we have a strong support for Office 365 in the past. From 1st of May this year, Microsoft decided to change the name of Office 365 to Microsoft 365. So here I apologize for old logo, but I tried to revise and update some other parts of my presentation, typically texts. So you have our hardware products on the top, you have infrastructure in the middle, and a bottom part of this slide is describing more some software tools and administration tools. In the middle, on the right side, you see a component called touchONE Server, which is a new platform we are launching soon. And this touchONE Server will help us to do a lot of stuff around the touchONE ecosystem. So first of all, this component will communicate with all other endpoints like touch panels or workplace interfaces. This tool will talk to calendars, shared calendars as well. And this tool will provide front ends for administrators on one side. So touchONE admin is a typically front end for administrators, helping them to manage users, rooms, accounts, and so on in the system. And the right side of the bottom line is describing other front ends for users. So users may benefit from using a software which is giving them a much more convenient user interface, helping them to find free resources, available rooms, and manage a reservation in any size of organization. First stop in the software is on front end we call touchONE Assist. touchONE Assist is dedicated for end users. So typically it's a platform we have in development for communication with the Microsoft 365 calendars and Azure Active Directories, and it brings a lot of stuff to users' comfort. What I'm going to share with all of you is some preliminary data sheet for touchONE Assist. So after the webinar, when you receive a follow-up email, you will get a link where you can download a PDF file with some data sheet describing a little bit more details about the touchONE Assist. What should be interesting to all of you, we plan to deploy support for multiple platforms. So typically, we want to have a support for technically any compatible browser on any computer platform or operating system. We want to deploy some plugin for Outlook, some component for Microsoft Teams. As well, we have a plan to support mobile platforms like Android or iOS based devices. If we skip on the next slide, a new administration tool is part of a touchONE server, and front end for administrators is called touchONE admin. The plan is that this administration tool will bring us more features and more possibilities for hosting platforms. So typically, we plan to have this administration tool based on the cloud as a virtual machine, or still you can have on-premise hardware for some local environments, local networks environments. What the new features touchONE admin brings over touchONE Manager, older administration tool, is typically support for NFC cards and synchronization with the Active Directory, or support for the user pins you may use instead of NFC card. So if you need to do reservation on touch panel and you forgot your NFC card in your office room or at your desk, you can still use your personal identification number to do the reservation on such a touch panel protected with a PIN code or NFC authentication. Important to know, we have final phases of a testing of this administration tool, and expected time of arrival or launch is around the mid of June, and we plan to let you know beginning of June exact date, and as well for exact date or launch we plan to have prepared and organize a webinar describing touchONE admin in more details. What other news we are going to add in touchONE family is a new interface for workplace reservation. Many of you probably visited ISE show in Amsterdam this year, so we were showing this unit on at our booth, and this unit is going to be more flexible, universal, You will have a 4.3-inch touch screen on this unit, which is giving you much more interaction than just buttons. And there is integrated NFC reader, so we plan to have a support that you can use NFC cards authentication process on these interfaces as well. From a hardware point of view, it's not a rocket science. It's a small, sexy looking device in a plastic enclosure. It's one cable coming in, typically UTP cable from your local area network, which is providing a PoE power as well. And you may consider two different installation positions. So it should be like a desktop version or on-wall version. You can see in both pictures in this slide. What is important to mention here, we were alerting about some changes Microsoft announced some time ago. And important here is to say that for all existing users using a touchONE for quite time, it's important to follow these instructions, because in the past we were using something what is called Exchange Web Services, what was the way for authentication typically for Microsoft or in the past Office 365. This is something which should be called the basic authentication. And Microsoft announced that on October 13th this year will stop support authentication in this way. So it's important to go and upgrade your system with a new way of doing authentication on our touch panels via Microsoft Graph. Important to remember, from mid of March, it's released firmware version 20 or higher, and this firmware and all newer releases is supporting this transition to new Microsoft Graph authentication. Regarding the details, please follow our manuals, our documents, giving you a very detailed description what is necessary to do. So just a summary for this slide: from now on till October 13th, it's a transition time when everyone who is using touchONE system must be sure that it's upgraded to authentication in a new way. Otherwise, who will not follow this instruction on October 13th, our panels will stop communication with the server, and you will not get the most recent or most updated information on the touch panels from the shared calendars. So please pay attention here. What other news? We also have a development announced before. We prepared some multi-shared rooms synchronization technology, which is helping us typically in environments or installations where you have a building like in a picture, and this building is occupied by several different companies, but they are renting a space. And typically on the ground floor, there is a pool of shared meeting rooms. And you need to have a solution for synchronization between different servers in each organization, that all of these renters of the building can use the same shared rooms. So important for you to remember, we do have such a technology. If you want to discuss some particular projects, please get back, and we will talk about more details. Important news coming very soon is finally a basic digital signage support on our reservation panels. So we plan to have this functionality available next week. The idea is that you are using technically screensaver mode, so the time flow on in the picture on this slide is showing a typical operation. So first you have a reservation mode where the screen is showing standard user interface, typically layout 1 or layout 2 of user interface on touch panel. And after some time, there is no activity on a touch panel. The touch panel is going into the info mode, and info mode is helping you to play a sequence of several static pictures. So you might have a 1 picture or 4 pictures or whatever you want. Typically, these pictures are prepared aside, and they are uploaded in a JPEG or a PNG format, and recommended native resolution of a touch panels 1280 by 800 pixels. And then you do easy setup in touchONE to make this happen. What is important for you to remember also from this slide, because it's like a more traditional at the moment. We have prepared some COVID-19 messages, technically 6 messages, giving you some instructions what to do in this time, because we are facing some unusual situation, all of us around the globe. And also there is a prepared tutorial giving you advice how to put info mode together with these pictures. So I will tell you more details on the next slides. Also important to know, we finalized and finished development of support of other protocol for CalDAV. This is opportunity for us to connect touchONE system to other platforms than Microsoft Office or Microsoft 365 or Microsoft Exchange, because there is a lot of free open source calendars using this communication, this protocol. Important to know, this will be available in release of firmware 21 and higher. This is going to be available next week. But important to know that the first version of CalDAV support is compatible and fully and reliably work with IceWarp, what is one of the possible CalDAV platforms. We are ready and we are prepared to increase the functionality and support other platforms. But in general, there is no way how to comply with all available platforms around the world. Main reason is that there are different setup procedures we have to follow in a touchONE. So at the moment it's IceWarp compatible, and please give us feedback if you want to have support for any other particular CalDAV platform which you see as a very important in your projects. And finally, about the firmware, I mentioned firmware 20 and firmware 21. So just a recap, firmware 20 is out since March 20th this year. The major improvements or a new functionality there was a possibility to have a device configuration backup and restore. We added to concentrator functionality for generating QR codes for workplace interfaces. So you don't need to go and use other software or other platform to generate these QR codes, and you can prepare them directly in a concentrator. As I mentioned before, there is a support for a new way of authentication via Microsoft Graph. And of course, some improvements and bug fixes, which is minor as always. New firmware 21 is scheduled to be released on Monday next week. And the major additions are support for CalDAV, as I mentioned before, a reservation panel info mode, support for touchONE overview in portrait mode. So you don't need to use your large screens or monitors only in a landscape mode. You can flip them up and use, you can rotate them, and you can use portrait mode. And if necessary, because you don't know in advance if this will be rotated from landscape to the left side or right side, we have a prepared also option for flipping the picture. So you can always do setup that your screen is looking as expected. In this release, we are adding also touchONE 4 support for new interfaces for workplace, but physically these interfaces will be available later this summer. Next release is scheduled for about mid of June. Officially it will be firmware 22, and the major support in this release will be support for touchONE admin, a new administration tool for administrators. Last from touchONE, we prepared the tool called touchONE Calculator, which is a tool typically helping people to get more oriented in more complex and growing touchONE family. So this calculator is based on Excel spreadsheet and helps you to calculate a possible combination of units. So this calculator is following some technical rules that if you want to have, for example, workplace interface, you also need a concentrator because it's necessary. So the tool is giving you this help, and in the end you can get some idea about the total volume of investment for your system. You see in the picture, you see the flavor of this tool. This tool is officially distributed via our sales official channel. Please don't be shocked from the pricing you see on this slide, because the prices were changed, and I used just some currency, USD dollars in this case. But it's better to ask your local distributor in each country who can provide you with a local currency or corresponding currency and the right pricing according to your market and area. As we are living in a global world and not everywhere is a valid euro or dollar as a currency, and you know that we are facing some customs challenges and so on. So the pricing should be different in each region around the globe. So please ask your sales channel if you want to get such a tool, and you want to have a benefit that you can put specification of touchONE project together on your own, and you will know how many components you need and what is the pricing in a total. Let's go to second section dedicated to control system. In the control system, we have a lot of news as well. First, and probably a significant news, I want to share with you that we started to organize online trainings for a CUE Visual Composer, because current situation and quarantine, which brought to us impossibility to travel and invite and accept our guests coming from all around the world, was pushing heavily on us to have this online and remote solution. There are some other points, like a new liteCUE 4 device. I want to tell you about simple setup, as well drivers, technical support conditions, and as a localization of your simple setup user interface. So let's go to see more details. Online trainings for CUE Visual Composer, they are more dedicated or focused on programmers, as typically our 2 days class we are organizing at CUE headquarters in Prague. But of course, this has slightly changed the program and the setup, because whatever is possible to do if you have a hands-on and you are in-person training is impossible in the case of doing trainings over internet. But at least better to have something than nothing. So we are providing these courses. If you are interested, please go to check our website at cuesystem.com/education, where you see all upcoming events. So if you are interested, you may register for one of upcoming online trainings. Even it should be interesting for all existing partners, old partners, because many programmers may benefit from some new updates. We are going to tell you on these trainings. For beginners or new users or new programmers or new users of CUE control system, it's definitely mandatory and strongly recommended that if you don't have a chance to travel, please use this online tool to learn at least something. So please go to our website, get registered, and follow on. As an addition to this online training, we are in the process to preparing a lot of tutorial videos. So there is several tutorial videos on covering also CUE Visual Composer. I'm going to tell you about that a little bit later. There is another slide I have prepared for you. So if you want to combine this together, or if you don't have a time and you need to learn something very quickly now, you can have access to these tutorial videos 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So that's probably the fastest approach if you want to learn some brief amount of information very quickly. New liteCUE 4 unit is technically the same hardware like a touchONE 4. It's a plastic enclosure. It's based on a 4.3-inch size touchscreen. But important here is to say that this unit is not going to be as powerful as a usual touch panel. So please do not count on this unit as a standalone touch panel, because this is not possible. So that's why we say it's not a touch panel, it's a touch screen keypad, because by function this is an alternation or a variation or option for typically keypad Q55. So we plan to have this as an option, and you can use it together with any controller. Even a small one, Control Key Basic, or larger like a Control Key 1 or Control Key 2. Same functionality from hardware point of view, so you can install it on desktop, or you can install it on the wall where it is swapped bottom up, and orientation of the picture on the screen you can set easily in our setup tools. So you can rotate the picture as per your needs. This is going to be available also during the summer this year. Web-based, simple setup for liteCUE bundles. This is not completely new, but it's still growing platform. We launched a simple setup almost a year ago. And the basic idea is that for small entry-level control systems, you might have an interface helping you to do very easy setup, and not necessarily to use help from programmers, from very skilled and expensive people. The simple setup is growing, and what is probably the most important for you to know, if you are even familiar with the simple setup, there is one polishment in a development that we are going to swap macros and layout sections in a simple setup, and then some setup steps will be philosophically slightly different. But we plan to have also webinars about next simple setup promotion as well. We will address all of these changes in the webinar, so you will learn more about these changes and what should be done in a slightly different way. What is also important, and we are having in development continuously, it's the family or library of device drivers for simple setup. Because primary, we do believe that all users or installers will benefit from the fact that it's not necessary to take care of the driver, and you can download the driver from cloud-based library. So this cloud-based library is growing. I encourage all of you, please give us in a feedback a list of devices you want to control, and the way you want to control these devices. So if you want to use IP protocol or serial port or something else, ideally, if you have some technical documents giving us a little bit more description about protocol and communication on these devices, it will be very helpful, and our engineers can prepare these drivers. So in a very short time, we are able to post these new drivers on the cloud, and you will have a benefit from these drivers available in the cloud library. So please join us, and you will have a benefit from that. What you can see in the pictures on this slide, a left picture is showing you typically the list of drivers when you click on downloading from the cloud in a simple setup. On the top picture, you see the part of our website dedicated to basic control solution, where is the section called device drivers. And if you click on this device drivers, you will open the PDF file, which you can also download to your computers. And a PDF file preview is on right bottom picture, showing you the list of devices and supported drivers we have already uploaded on the cloud. This is a dynamic document, so we plan to update this PDF file on a regular basis, and every time it's updated, you will recognize that there is a new update date. So it's a newer version than probably you had downloaded before. So if you want to have this a PDF file, please go to our website, and you will get it. Next, in a simple setup, there is an opportunity to localize simple setup user interface. So for those countries, they see this as a critical, and they may benefit from using a local language for installers, because it will be easier for them than English. Please join us in this effort, and we are going to give you some support. And that's pretty easy to implement other language into simple setup. So typically, if you will ask us, we will provide you JSON, keeping all text in English. Then a pretty good tool we recommend to use is a Babel Edit, which is for a small amount of money available on the web. And this tool is helping you with the editing of this JSON, and you can translate the text from English into your local language, into German or Danish or Norwegian or whatever you want. And then you can save that back, and after we receive a translated text from you, we will implement it in the next release of firmware, and you can see then in simple setup, like here in the picture, that on the right side, when you click on pull down menu, a part of English, there will be also your language listed. Of course, as always, the technical difficulties may bring us some challenges, so that's why I say all technical rights reserved for specific languages, typically if we are going to talk about the non-Latin characters languages. What next in control system? This is not a totally new, but it's important to remind that we have a control widget for touchONE, which is helping us to do seamless integration between control system and a reservation system. And important to remember, this is a part of a CUE Visual Composer. So for all programmers or users of our control system, this is available, and you may get access to this control widget easily. I was talking about the drivers for simple setup, and also is good to mention drivers for CUE Visual Composer. You know, for a long time that there is a chance to import drivers from some release. I guess around the beginning of this year, we started to support possibility to import also drivers from a simple setup into CUE Visual Composer. So typically the files with the extension CSSD are possible to be uploaded onto CUE Visual Composer. You can upload originally designed drivers for CUE Visual Composer having a CVCD extension of the file. And we are also having in preparation a similar tool like in simple setup, and this will be a part of one of the next releases of a CUE Visual Composer. So at the moment, if you will try to find some driver in CUE Visual Composer installation, that's one possibility. If you will not find the driver there, try to get back to us, and maybe we can provide you such a driver if exists separately. But the plan is that in the future, from some future release of a CUE Visual Composer, we are going to have a cloud-based library like in simple setup, and this cloud-based library will help us to upload more and more drivers for you, and this will help you to get access to more and more drivers the same way like in simple setup. So please be informed about such a new feature coming very soon. Important here, we did also some polishment on the technical support conditions, and we prepared some document mostly describing the areas we are covering with our technical support, or what we are doing in technical support activities. And we found that there is not very well declared information about some code sharing. So the main reason, or the main usage of the document we prepared is to understand better all technical support conditions for our free of charge technical support, because there is a very sensitive part regarding code sharing. And code sharing means then during the interaction of technical support, when our engineers are involved, there is some code shared in both ways. So you are sharing some part of your code, programming code, with us as well. We are doing some revisions, repairs, or we are adding some additional parts back to you. And this has direct touch on copyright law, but we want to agree with you on the rule that if you are asking help from our technical support team and you are benefiting from this technical support free of charge, you agree that some part of the code should be used for some future technical support purposes or other customers if they will have the same problem or they will need the same or similar help. So that's important to say publicly. And also a good conclusion for you, if there is something what is extremely sensitive and you have a problem to agree on such a rules, please remove the part of the code from your project which is sent back to us, or give us some advice that there is something very sensitive which cannot be used, and we will try hard to take a special care of your particular project. Going to the last part of the webinar today, it's about some common stuff. So first of all, the most exciting news we are having is we prepared several tutorial videos for all product families. So we have something for CUE Visual Composer, something for touchONE family, and more as well. There is a tutorial and information on COVID-19 messages. So you will see more information on that point. There is a new scanner we are calling now CUE Network Scanner instead of Reservation Suite Scanner, because it's more accurate if this scanner is doing a much wider job. Just a reminder about our fantastic demo case and some summary as always. So if we go to see our tutorial videos, first important to know, we are posting this on a vimeo.com server, and there are several different sections. So here are the valid links you can use if you are interested to learn more about the CUE Visual Composer. Typically you click on the first link. If you want to have more information on touchONE, how to do setup on touch panels in touchONE, you follow second link, and so on. Some installation guides are there already posted, and we also place there some videos summarizing the most recent ISE shows in Amsterdam. We do have some ideas, and some other tutorials are already in development, but as always, if you have some great comment, if you have some feedback, giving us advice which tutorial you preferably want to have as soon as possible, please let us know. A part of the links on the top of this slide, you can have access to all of these videos or tutorials also from our main website cuesystem.com in education section. So if you go there by default, you will see first video, then other classroom or internet sections. And in this video section, you have all of these four links as mentioned on the top of this slide. So if you want to have more information, or if you want to see and watch more tutorials on CUE Visual Composer, click on the first link. That's available 24/7, and it should be very, very helpful. And we believe this is a new way how to bring more information and more advices to all of you. So you can have a benefit from this fantastic tool. COVID-19 messages I mentioned before. COVID-19 messages are mostly dedicated to address the current situation we are facing. The messages are general for public use, so you may use all of them as you wish or only some of them. After the webinar, I'm going to share with you all of these pictures we prepared. There is a small accent on office environment, what is still the major market for us, where many of our touch panels are used. So in total, we have 6 different pictures, and what you will see in a short resource later today, you might have these messages in a PDF file, PowerPoint presentation, or we have directly prepared PNG graphic pictures in native resolution of our touch panels, 1280 by 800 pixels. So you can directly use these pictures for uploading on your panels and use them as a part of your info mode. And as you remember from some of the previous slides, this will be possible from firmware 21, which is going to be launched on Monday next week. So you can download the pictures today, and from Monday next week, you can upgrade your touch panels and you can place these pictures on touch panels as a part of info mode. Helping you to do so, there is also tutorial as mentioned before in known place, and this tutorial is called COVID-19. Oh, it's called info mode. So if you want to learn how to prepare info mode on your touch panels, please watch this tutorial. Next news we are having now is a new network scanner, or a CUE network scanner. So we changed the name. It's not called Reservation Suite Scanner as before, because it's not dedicated to Reservation Suite or touchONE only anymore. So the new release is available for download on our websites, as always in very well-known places. As well, I'm going to share the link for downloading this tool from in the email, follow-up email after the webinar. The most important to know, there is more features. You can cover all CUE products. You can select to show all products, or touchONE family only, or control system family only. What is still there as a functionality, there is a direct access to the web page of admin web for each unit. So if you don't want to type IP address into your web browser, please double click on particular line of device in CUE network scanner, and the browser will be open directly on a login web page of admin web of this unit. For everyone who wants to use all information from CUE network scanner in, for example, Excel spreadsheet, you can copy paste all of the information here with the very well known rules, like you can select the lines, particular lines, or you can press you can click on the first one, press down, shift button, and click on the last one, and you can select all. And also important to know, there is a tool, there is a button helping you to export information to CSV file. And if you want to learn more in details, please follow the tutorial we prepare also for this new CUE network scanner. Again, available in tutorial resources on Vimeo, or you can get there via cuesystem.com/education part of our website. Just a reminder, DemoCUE2 is a fantastic demo tool. I know it's not easy to use such a tool today, but I do believe, I'm very optimistic, that we all will start traveling and meeting face-to-face again very soon. And it's good to be prepared, having a fantastic tool. So this is a great tool for all people they want to do or deliver a presentation and a demo to customers, because you have all necessary components fully integrated in Pelicase. So when you are arriving even late on your meeting, it's not a big deal, because you just need to get power. So you plug it in power cord, and your setup is a question of less than a minute, and you can do presentation and a demo to your customer, which is a fantastic. Next, we are having some traditional materials. I'm going to remind again after the webinar in a follow-up email. So don't forget, we are having a PDF documents like a catalog product overview, dedicated leaflet for touchONE, dedicated leaflet for liteCUE solution. Many other documents are available as a PDF files on our websites, like data sheets and manuals and setup guides and so on. If necessary, please ask us, and we are able to give you native files for many of those documents in InDesign format, so you can get access to high resolution pictures if you want to use them in your documentation or on your website or in your presentation or whatever else. Important to remind here, we updated the price list in April, so please ask your official sales channel, please ask your distributor in each country for some updated price list where are mostly new contributions regarding new software components. Now it's probably time to go slowly to the wrap up, and it's a section for questions and answer. I don't know if someone is having some important question. If so, please use the conversation section in Microsoft Teams application. If this is not so urgent, or you don't want to share it with all others, do not hesitate to send an email. Okay, I got the first one. Fantastic. Thank you. Availability for Assist 365 plugin iOS Android apps. We plan to have first front ends for users this summer, probably July. I'm not sure for 100% what will go out first. Probably web browser should be first, and mobile platforms will be last, but that's definitely the goal. So please follow some news we are sharing with you, and we will tell you exact date as soon as possible. But the plan is this summer. Any other question, please? If you have one, just type it in Microsoft Teams. If you don't have, okay, I got it. Regarding the digital signage, part of touchscreen, do you plan to play small videos too, and not only images? Yes, that's the plan, but not possible on a current generation of touch panels. So what we are having in development a new generation or refreshment of touch panels, mostly the main PCB inside with a new processor. This new generation of touch panels will bring us a much more power. It will be more powerful, more horsepower inside, and we plan to address playing videos on our touch panels in this new generation of touch panels. So only images on current generation available this year. Next year probably we will have a new generation of touch panels, and they will have an opportunity to play also live videos in info mode. Okay, next question or comment I got. Video tutorial, this site cannot be reached. Can you be more specific, please, to tell me which one is not available? As always, you know, technical difficulties are sometimes giving us problems to get everywhere immediately. Sometimes we are facing problems with the internet connection or whatever. So if this does not work for you now, no worries. Please read my follow-up email and try again, and then give me again a feedback if there is some problem with getting to the tutorials. So if you are not having a more urgent questions, please follow with the other questions you might have in email. And I really appreciate your time and attention you paid on our webinar today. Don't forget that we have a group email address, webinar@cuesystem.com. In general, dedicated to all comments and feedbacks to our webinar. So if you have some idea about a webinar you want to see, please tell us, and we will do our best for reaching the goal. And if you don't have a more, then I wish you have a great rest of the day, evening, or whatever, wherever you are, and stay in touch with us. Thank you very much for watching, and hope to see you soon. Bye bye.